Here we go. It's Sunday morning. And what am I doing? I'm on my way to Winn-Dixie. Why am I on the bicycle? Well, I haven't been on the bicycle all week. I've been working every single day. In fact, I think it's been more than a week since I've been on the bicycle. It's Sunday morning, yes, there's hardly any traffic. This is one of those few times when driving is faster than riding. So why in the world would I want to ride on a day when I can drive? Well, I'll tell you why. Got to get some kind of exercise in. Although I do exercise a lot just to work. So let's see what we can do here. Now I missed the light. Oh well, it'll clear up soon. There's a lot more traffic than I thought there would be. Well, it'll clear up. Anyway, I'm sure some of you watched my live that I had Saturday morning, which is sort of like a tradition for me. And you may have seen that I talked about several different subjects. One subject that I've been getting emails about and comments about are some of the fad diets that are out there. Now, we know the carnivore diet was a fad that started 2020, 2021. I forget when it was. By 2022, it was super popular. And now it's sort of fading away. Well, not really. That's what they want you to believe. But long before keto and carnivore became popular, and again, keto became popular, I remember seeing videos on it, 2017, 2018. You had that Butter Bob guy that was real popular, who basically disappeared. Carnivore diet, it really didn't come up until Paul Saladino started pushing it, writing his book on it. And then it started to become more and more popular. But today, it's just one of many. So what's the latest trend? The sugar diet. Now, they might want you to believe that the sugar diet is some new revolutionary diet. But it's one of the oldest fad diets. I remember as a kid, the grapefruit diet, the potato diet, the rice diet, all kinds of crazy diets. And every one of them, they had their supporters. They had people that used the diet to become less heavy and sort of like a cure-all for everything. Now, as you probably know, my dad was very much into health foods and all those things that go along with the healthy lifestyle. As a kid, we would go to a lot of health food stores. We got all kinds of seeds and berries and all this other stuff. He had every kind of juicer and blender known to man. He'd blend this stuff up into something that was supposed to be some kind of healthy food, or as they called it, superfood. I always thought that was funny. You know, basically you have regular food and you have superfood. Interesting, huh? Well, anyway, with that in mind, one can only imagine how many opportunities there are for people to make money. Now, evidently, and you can see this even by reading old books and advertisements, there are many opportunities for crazy diets. Have you ever seen those Lucky Strike cigarette ads? that says, reach for a Lucky instead of a Sweet. Yep. And I think it also said, for a slim figure that no one can deny. So the idea was, if you were heavy, you could start smoking. And I remember also seeing some guy that was jumping over hurdles, and then in the other one was like fat. I think that was also Lucky Strike cigarettes. So the idea was pretty simple. Get somebody addicted to something you can sell all the time. And then you make them promises that may or may not be true. So let's think about that. If you use that criterion, it kind of describes a sugar diet, doesn't it? Now, I'm one of those people that never really understood that you could be addicted to sugar. I always saw sugar as sort of like a low-quality food-like substance that was tasty for most people, cheap to produce, and made you a lot of money. That's what I see. On the other hand, as I've become more familiar with some of the diet communities online, I've seen that people relate their experiences, all the issues they had, and some of those issues seems to be almost like a drug addiction. They're eating processed food, sugar-laden drinks, and all this stuff, and they can't stop. And then I look at the people that I know, my friends and associates. They're going about their day, and every so often they have to stop and load up with snacks or drinks. That seems to be a common thing. Now, sadly, there's really no way of proving it one way or the other. When you think about it, how can you prove that somebody's addicted to a type of food? Because if you think about it, you have to eat all the time. If you don't eat, you starve to death. It's like my friend that I mentioned in the video a year ago, or whenever I made that video, that tried the carnivore diet, but ended up dying anyway from heart failure and other issues due to years of damage. And he told me that food addiction is the hardest addiction to manage because you have to eat to survive. And I thought that was pretty good information. When you think about it, how can you be addicted to something like breathing air or drinking water? You don't do that, you'll die rather quickly. And that really sort of a wake-up call. Now, who's promoting the sugar diet? Pretty much all of them are under 40, maybe 50 max. They all have a history of exercise and metabolic health to some extent. None of them are obese. None of them are circling the drain as of yet. Human beings are like pigs. We're very adaptable. We can survive on a lot of different things. It's like rats. Rats can survive on almost anything. And I think in many ways, this is what's happening. You go on this so-called sugar diet. Basically, what are you doing? You're training your body into being able to do these things to survive. And that, in my opinion, is something that you really shouldn't take too seriously, at least at first. Because just because you can survive on eating something like sugar for a period of time doesn't mean it's sustainable for the long term. And this is a problem with fad diets. Whether it's a sugar diet or a carnivore diet, any kind of extreme elimination diet is going to be very hard for the average person to follow for any long term. And also, isn't it possible that your body may adapt over time and it will no longer work? You might be able to lose weight for a while, then eventually it won't work anymore. That is a possibility. Okay. Hope the fire ant pile is gone. It looks like it is. So anyway, yeah, it's pretty common that most people are going to fall for something because there's a lot of people out there that are living difficult lives, and it's really hard for them to be able to manage it in an effective way. Now, this is one thing that I've mentioned to people, and I've admitted it for a long time. And they say, well, Rick, you eat the carnivore diet, you eat a bunch of fat meat, you have a high-calorie diet, 6 pounds of meat a day, 6 pounds of fatty meat, along with yogurt and cheese. And if the average person tried to eat that way, they'd probably be super constipated or just plain sick. And you're probably right. Okay. See if we can get through here. You're probably right. But then again, maybe you're wrong. Who knows? Let's see what we got here. Place smells like an ashtray. Somebody must have been smoking in here. My sense of smell is just way too sensitive. I can even smell some of these fake foods when I walk by. Oh, that's terrible. Now I can smell the seed oil chicken they're cooking. Again, pretty disgusting. There's nothing like real chicken deep fried in pure lard or beef tallow. Let's see. Okay. $5.29 a pound. Smells like some of this meat is rotten. That's not good. What is the date on this? May 27th. This is ridiculous. Look, this is a joke. $14.99 for 3 pounds. How much is that? $5 a pound? Rip off. This place is a joke. Oh, here we go. This is the cheapest. Let's see. 69 cents a pound. All right. What do we have here? $4.99. That's too much. I don't know what's going on with Winn-Dixie. Even the pork is overpriced. But at least this is cheap. Let's see where I got my money in here. In here somewhere. There we go. All right. Get my shopping done, get back to the house. I got a job to do later today. And again, I could have driven by here. But why would I? Just waste fuel. It's not on my way. Now, if this would be on my way, then sure, I'd stop here while I'm driving. All right. Nope.
Enter your phone number. Enter phone number. Rewards account accepted.
Okay.
18, 11. Place your item in the bagging area. Scan coupon now. Your total is $6.20. Please insert coins, then insert bills.
Come on. There we go.
Scan
Nope.
coupon now.
Other way? Okay. Come on. What the heck?
Please select your payment.
Okay. Must have been too wet
Please
to
wait.
accept.
System processing.
All right. Okay.
Please remember to
All
take
right.
your change, your receipt, and check the coupon printer for any coupons which may be available to you.
Okay.
Thank you for shopping at Wendy's.
That's it. Anyway. All right. That wasn't too bad. The good thing about Sunday morning, not too many people here. Yeah, there's the fire ants. I can see. Yep, they're still active too. All right. I better get out of here before they take over my bicycle. So, where were we? Talking about different diets. Now, obviously, we have a lot of people out there that are extremists. For example, with the sugar diet, they're saying that fat makes you fat. You can't eat fat because it's going to make you unhealthy. And the same old garbage that we've been told for many, many years. All you have to do is look around and you'll see that there aren't that many lean people left in this town. Except for the ones that may be a little too friendly with each other. Okay. And nobody speaks English. Yep. That's what happens when you let your area turn into the world's dumping ground. Think about it. Every place in the world where life is difficult and the people are powerless to fix the problem, the easiest way is just run away and come here. Now, the sad part is that our area has become almost as bad as where they left, and it may end up being worse. And the other sad part is that since there's nothing I can do to fix this place, I need to move as well. I've been criticized for that too. Well, Rick, why don't you try and fix what's there? Well, I'll tell you why, because it's not fixable. It's like a hoarder house. Your house gets too full of stuff. I mean, like my house. People accuse me of being a hoarder. But the thing is that all the things I have, I actually need for my upcoming projects when I move. The one thing that I really need and don't have is space. And that's the problem with Miami and South Florida. It is overbuilt and overpopulated. And also, it's dominated by foreign cultures, which means that people are not going to work together. So when things do go bad, as they will, eventually the Federal Reserve's constant money printing and the government's overreach and authoritarianism won't work anymore. The same thing that happened in places like the Soviet Union, China, Cuba, all these places. The more authoritarian the government gets, the worse the economy gets. Then they try to fix the problem with money printing. That causes inflation. And that makes people even more frustrated. And then you have violence and instability. And eventually it all fails. Not a good thing. Oh well, let's see. About 8 seconds. At this point, I think I'm just out here and let it change. Okay, we'll jump the gun a little bit. Again, one of the great things about being here on Sunday. Anyway, I'm surprised the guy on the scooter actually waited. He looks like he's from another country. And I'm not against people from other countries coming here. I don't have a problem with that. You know, if you genuinely have an issue in the place that you're living in and you want to move here, come on down. But the thing is, these investors and parasites, they take advantage of people who are desperate. What they do, they find people that are willing to lower their living standards. That way they can cram them into tinier spaces. Whereas one of these homes originally might have 4 people living in it. Mom and dad and 2 kids. Now you might have 12 people living in it. You have 3 bedrooms, and you have 1 or 2 baths, and then you have the garage and the shed. Then you can also, some people even turn the dining room into a bedroom. By bringing more people in here, you can then increase the supply of labor and therefore reduce the wages. And at the same time, the more people you put here, the more money you can extract from a given space. So what you end up with is a rapidly declining standard of living where people basically fight each other for whatever scraps they can find. In order for that to work, you're also better off getting people that don't require high quality foods. Can you imagine if you wanted to build a city where everybody was 6'6" and lean and ate meat and drank water? That'd be pretty expensive. Look at that truck full of crap. Even got some chairs. Got the scavengers. They go around in the morning picking up crap. Well, I have to admit, I've done that too. I've been out and about at 5 and 6 in the morning picking up junk. I don't do that anymore. I got too much crap as it is. But just imagine, everybody was like me. It would devastate these parasites because they wouldn't have anybody to exploit for cheap labor, although I do work a little bit cheaper than I should. And they wouldn't be able to cram people like me into tiny little spaces. We're simply too big. We need bigger homes and bigger cars. We're not willing to live piled up. I have to live in my own space by myself. And I need to have a lot of supplies and tools so that I have the ability to get things done. So, with that being said, you can see what their plan is. And this is why a lot of these diet fads can be so dangerous. You have people over there, they're just determined to get you to believe them. Because when you believe the stuff they tell you, you're willing to pay for their advice. Now, how do you know when somebody is a grifter? Well, they give you some kind of video, meme, or whatever. And then one thing they want you to do is to buy their book or their program. You see this a lot. Everything from buying real estate to doing things online. That seems to be the big scam now. How you can make videos and promote yourself and blah, blah, blah. Well, that's something that never changes. So when you see these people with diet and exercise programs, they'll be as outrageous as possible. They may yell at the camera. They may act aggressive. They'll get in their Lamborghini or whatever overpriced piece of foreign crap they can get. They'll pop into their crappy black, white, and gray Miami condo, and they'll tell you all kinds of stories about how much money they make and how they're going to help you make money for a price. Same thing with the diet gurus. Oh, my diet works so well. All you got to do is sign up for my coaching or buy my book. And then you too can be just like me, in good shape, attracting tons of women and being financially successful. Well, there's always a delay between the actions and the reactions. So by the time that people realize and it's all a scam. The trend has passed. The grifters have made their money, and then they move on to something else. So don't be surprised. Sugar diet comes out. A year or two later, people are saying, oh, it gave me diabetes. I got joint pains, arthritis, all this stuff from the sugar diet. And oh, there's a baby iguana. Look at that. Delicious iguana. And they go, well, guess the sugar diet, it didn't work. So what do they do next? Well, maybe we'll start a new trend. We'll start the iguana diet. You got to eat at least one iguana per day, or maybe with a Muscovy duck. And then whoever sells iguanas or Muscovy ducks will become super rich. I mean, you can see how many of these influencers still sell supplements, electrolytes, and all this other stuff. You got to remember, anytime something goes from something you can pick on a tree yourself to something that comes in a box or bag, there's a tremendous amount of extraction that takes place. For example, see this avocado tree? If I had an avocado tree in my yard and it was avocado season and I wanted to eat an avocado, all I have to do is go outside and use a picking pole or a ladder, or if the branch is low enough, I can pick it by hand. Pick the avocado, take it inside, wash it, peel it, and then eat it. So who profits off of that? Nobody. Nobody profits off of stuff you grow yourself. I have a vegetable garden. I got lettuce, tomatoes, and cabbage. The lettuce, tomatoes, and cabbage grow. I harvest them, and then I use the lettuce for salad. I take the tomatoes or cabbage, put them in salt water and ferment them, make tomato sauce, sauerkraut, or whatever. Who exactly profits from that? Nobody. Nobody profits from it. And that is the problem. No one is going to promote something that doesn't make them money, period. And think about it. It's not rocket science. It's not hard to imagine what's going on here. I love Sunday morning. Look at that. Almost no traffic. Although I have to admit, I'd rather be in my 69 Charger, driving it up, listen to that engine. Once I get things fixed up, hopefully after I move, I'll be in a rural area and I'll make some friends. And then on the weekend or whenever there's no traffic, I'll fire up one of my Chargers, go for a ride, and of course, I might even put a container on the engine, that big 440 or even the 383, on those heavy cast iron manifolds, and cook myself a delicious steak, or even duck or iguana, or some of this pork. When it's cheap like that, you can't go wrong. Anyway, well, I figured some of you have asked me for a round trip going to the grocery store. Well, here it is. I'm heading back to my house. So, I hope you're having a great weekend. I know it's a holiday weekend, so enjoy it while you can. Think about the reasons for it, and I'll catch you next week, hopefully. Hopefully I'll have time to make some more detailed videos. I appreciate you watching. Can I get this out of my pocket?